In our previous tutorials, we've dealt a lot with different types of images that you can use in Future Folio. So there's some more advanced settings which I'll show you. Let's open up a new iPad portrait document. And let's place an image into here. Let's choose this one. It's a cutout. Let's put him in here nice and big. And let's save our document. Advanced images. Let's change back to our simulator directory on the root so that our previewer can see that. And let's build to there. Open up our simulator, Future Folio, Previewer. And here we have it, Advanced Images. Now that's great, that's our cutout, just as we'd expect to see it. So what happens if we want to put something behind him? Let's say it's the cover of a magazine and we want to put some text in there behind him. Let's say here's the cover. Let's bump that right up. And let's arrange that so it sits behind him in the page hierarchy. Can't really read it very well, so let's put it so he's just covering it. Now that's great. Looks kind of nice. It's a pretty basic cover. Let's quick build that. And you can see here that's all cut out correctly. Now the reason for that is what we've pasted in here for an image is a PNG. Now what Future Folio will do is it will look at the image that you've passed in, and based on that file format will decide whether it's possible that your image has a transparency channel in it, and if so, it will output as a PNG. So if we go to our simulator directory and we find our advanced images, you can see here this is the image it's exported and it's outputted as a PNG. Now let's say instead of passing in a PNG, we had put this in as a JPEG. So I have the equivalent here as a JPEG image. As you'd expect, that's now blocking off part of the cover. Let's just remove our PNG there. This time, if we do a build, there we go. It's blocked off because, as you'd expect, Folio has detected that you passed in a JPEG and it has output a JPEG. Now let's say that JPEG is one that you'd edited in Photoshop to include a clipping path. So let's add one of those in. We've now got cutout clipped. And let's get rid of that flat JPEG. So although this is a JPEG, it includes a clipping path so that what we're actually seeing is a cutout image. Now you might expect Folio would detect you've passed in a JPEG, therefore it would give you out a JPEG, which would then block off part of your headline here. In actual fact, Future Folio will detect that clipping path and it will output as a PNG for you again. So if we go back into Finder with our build results, there's our PNG. So Future Folio detects various effects such as clipping paths, if you've applied gradients, anything that could result in a transparency channel being needed on your image will result in a PNG. You can also override this if you want to. So on your object panel pop-up menu here, you have these three options here. The default is export as auto, which means that Future Folio will decide based on what we've just talked about what it should output as. Or you can force it to export as a JPEG. So if we do that and build, we're back to being a flat JPEG covering over our headline here. Or, of course, you can force to being a PNG. The other option that you've got, as everything comes up as auto, it might be that you consistently want all of your images to output as a specific format, but you don't want to have to go through and select each one individually and change the export format here. So we're going to introduce the Preferences panel here. So you're probably familiar with InDesign preferences already. we have a slight addition here, which is the Feature Folio preferences down the bottom. Open that up. You've got your advanced actions option there that we saw on the actions pop-up in that tutorial. You've also got here Auto Export Format Override. Now that defaults to auto, so that's your standard. Feature Folio will decide for you. You also get the options of PNG or JPEG. So let's say we choose JPEG here. Click on OK. Now this image, even though we've said export as auto, which would cause it to export as a PNG, having detected the clipping path, as we've now got a user preference set of export all auto images as JPEGs, when we now do a build, we'll get a JPEG. So all that preference setting does is just say, for any of my images that are set to export as auto, either leave them as auto or specifically do one or other of these. Bear in mind this is a user preference, this isn't per document, this is for you as a user in every single document that you export with Feature Folio, so be careful when using that. The other option that you've got here is image row size, defaulting to medium. If we pop that on large and go back to our object panel, you can see now you've got a nice big preview of your image there. You also get that option on the pop-up menu here. Set it to small, you get no preview image, default again to medium.